I have to keep my voice low because I'm in the area and I'm staying somewhere. Okay, so I don't want anybody here recording. But there are people mad that African American people are not protesting amongst Latinos in this Trump administration. Okay, and yes, I am African American, French, Spanish, Creole, English, Irish, Irish, American. I supported DACA. But when I hit the streets, when Judge Jerry Brown, a Democrat judge, put me out in the street, I had immigrants. Not all. Don't even I had some African American people that advocate us coming together. Fuck coming together. We have crab and barrels. You can't make a heartstring water. I'm not wasting my time praying for somebody to change. You are where you are. Get out of my way. Yes, I am. Okay, I'm not that brother that's gonna preach come the fucking together because we all have black blood. No, we have enemies. Keep their bitch ass where they at. Okay, but when it comes to, I hit the streets and I was homeless. And I trying to get water. That water is supposed to be free in the United States. I had Latino people, individuals, not all, gave me a hard time. I had Latino people who did help me out when I was homeless, but I had the immigrant ones and those who were born here disrespect me. I had African immigrants and sometimes Asian, sometimes white. But I noticed that I had a lot of help from white people during Trump administration back in 2020 and 19 than I had from people of color. I'm not saying people of color did not help me, but the main hostility I got was from people of color who are immigrants, particularly Latino and African Nigerian folks. And I'm not saying every Nigerian, especially from the Igbo tribe, is bad. Not every Hispanic is bad. But I did have a lot of anger towards, and sometimes not always Asian or Near Eastern, but there was some of those immigrants because they've been fed with stereotypes about Cocoa Black Americans being bad. And yeah, I did vote for Trump the second time, the first time in 2020, and also this past year because I got tired. I got tired of certain immigrants of color that we fought hard for DACA to be here, who we went on backs for. We bashed white racist people for them, turn around and backstab us. And that was the reason why normally I vote for Trump because two people of color who are African American and born here in the United States. Told Judge Aaron Brown can't stand his ass. Fuck that nigga. And Israel Garcia, that puto that as well. I voted for Trump because those two assholes. And like I said before, anybody said I'm not Hispanic. I do have Hispanic blood from Louisiana. People forget Louisiana was a French and Spanish colony, and I felt betrayed by minorities as a whole. Because this is Texas, it is a mostly white Anglo-Saxon Protestant state and run by white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. Even though we have a white Catholic married to a Mexican woman, talking about Greg Abbott, who's the governor. But you would suspect white supremacists who white to do this mess. No, it was fake brothers and sisters. It was Latinos who were immigrants and those who were born here. We had Asian, and African, especially the Igbo tribe Nigerians who call us gatas, who treat me like shit. And yes, I did vote for Trump because while I'm seeing Africans making fun of Latino immigrants, the ones that talk shit about us, your bitch ass next to. Okay? When they know, the one who calls us gatas, your ass is next to. And I'll be laughing as well. The ones who are innocent of this mess, my laughter does not go through you. It goes to the ones who actually potentially did this to me and other people who are not committing crimes. My record is clean. I don't do drugs. I don't sell dope, none of that. One time I had an incident at Starbucks in Western University. Deborah Masaricos, I'm gonna put her bitch ass name on blast. She mistreated me. The other manager, who's white, did not do that to me. They let me in the store. His wife is Mexican from American from Chicago. I used to be scared about Chicago. I know the R. Kelly situation, okay? But when he got fired and they put this Latino guy, Robert, he was cool with me. But we put Deborah now. Deborah was racist. Her wife is white. She's a lesbian. And she did show anti-blackness. Nobody at Starbucks, except for two women who look white, they're Creole. Well, they'll tell you straight, they from Louisiana, they mix with black and French. And my little homegirl, she mixes Spanish too, from Louisiana. And Portuguese besides Native American, but they don't, they get like typical white girls, but they mix with Creole black. and they don't mind admitting it, but they worked there. They said I was right, that their manager was racist, and and when I saw this woman try to plant a false allegation towards the police department, this is when George Floyd had got killed. Okay. When I see Amanda Perez whine like a bitch and using the N word about why Latinos don't get the same coverage, yes, Latinos get exonerated, Latinos get killed by police, but Latinos do not get news coverage. And let me explain why it is the news media's fault, but also Hispanic people's fault. Because some Hispanics, not all, focus on black pain, mocking black pain, making fun of African American people getting killed and murdered by police. When they ask to get killed by murder, Matanza has not died. Maybe Matanza, the history of it has been back in the 1920s, but most Latinos are getting killed to this day. Most Latinos get exonerated, okay, get lied on by the police. And in this Trump administration with this ICE camp, it is going with it. Do I feel sorry for racist, not non-racist Latinos? Yes, I do. Those who are non-racist, who not did anything innocent, my heart goes out to them. But the ones who are potentially racist, bitch, putos peras, you get what the fuck you deserve. You thought that being anti-black in our country was cute. It's not. You have black too. Let me explain that as well. Latinos have African blood too. Mexicans have black blood too, besides the indigenous and Spaniard. And other Latinos in the Caribbean and Central South America, y'all forgot who the fuck you are. You thought about it, let me put you as white on application that you white. No, you're not. That was LULAC begging the government back in 1930s to put you as white because they was ashamed of who the fuck they were. They did not want me put on the back of the bus because they had indigenous and black blood too, and they wanted to keep that a secret. And this is the reason why I don't advocate Latinos using the N word, because in all the atrocities in the United States, you had Latinos who owned slaves here in Texas. Yes, the Alamo was about slavery. You had Latinos at the border, Mexicans from Mexico, helping African people, but you had Latinos who were Tejano soldiers who took sides with Sam Houston. And Jose Antonio Navarro was the biggest slave owner here in Texas. He was Mexican American. You had other Seguin, and other Tejano soldiers here in Texas who were slave owners, Republican Texas, and they also defended. It was in the Confederacy when we had the Civil War, and it was also for segregation. So, and it was not all Mexicans, but you had that population that was there. And every time there was a civil rights movement, you had Mexican racist people and other Latinos too, who were not Mexican, who was taking sides of the racist white supremacists. So when I hear Latinos who try to use the N word, say, "Well, we went the same struggle." You did, but you pretend not to. You did, even though you was considered an ordinary white. You're not. You mix Hispanic and black. You're multiracial, just like we are. African Americans, we're not pure black. I hate when people put one drop rule on our application. We're mixed. We read somebody was considered pure black because a slave owner want to cover up his sex crimes. Yes, we have white ancestry as well. We are part European and Native. That's why, and we have Eurocentric standards because it's not DNA. Okay, we're not all that African. Okay, let's be real. When these African immigrants come to this country and talk to us crazy, we see the difference. And some are extremely dark. And I mean, call me a color one too. That is not my complexion. Okay, I'm brown tone because I have mixture in my blood, and I'm not ashamed of it. Okay, so we're mixed by European and Native as well. That's why I laugh every time I go back to Africa. I have a Cherokee grandfather, fourth grandfather who was Cherokee. His father, my fifth grandfather, died of Trail Tears before my Cherokee fourth grandfather married my mulatto biracial fourth grandmother. Okay, on my dad's side. My fifth grandfather, John Will Jackson, died Trail Tears, getting kicked out of Georgia and went to Alabama in 1836 and died and Trail on the way to Oklahoma. His son married a part black, part white mulatto woman, my fourth grandmother, Theaters. Okay, so don't tell me that I'm not indigenous and I'm a wabo. I have evidence. Shout out to answer.com of that. When I learned that, Big Mama, my dad's maternal grandmother, never told us that. That was on her lineage. Okay, and so before you start running your mouth about wabo this and that, I have the documentation. And actually, when I get all everything taken, I'm doing some other business. I'm going to go to the Cherokee Nation and actually show it so we can get my get approved to be a member of the Cherokee Nation, okay? But I'm part Cherokee because it's my and that's my DNA, that's my ancestry. You can't tell my ass to go back to Africa. I go to Africa when the fuck I want. But how about you go to Africa? Latinos have African blood, and yes, your culture has more African elements than our culture in the Anglo-Saxon. Of course, us Creoles come from Creole as well. We have gumbo, we have some African and those from Gullah Island. But outside of Gullah Island in Louisiana, the African culture was diluted. The white Anglo-Saxon ancestors of ours stripped everything African out of our ancestors, and they had English names. They adapted English, a white English Saxon culture. That is very true. So, but your enslaved ancestors covered up when the Spaniard ancestors or the Portuguese in Brazil or the French in Haiti or any other, they was going to beat the slaves or beat the indigenous people practicing their polytheist religions, aka pagan religions that was not Christian, and they would cover up with Catholic statues to make sure they did not get caught. They kept the Santerias and the Muertes de Voodoo in there. So in the music, you have African elements. Cumbia is not, it's African, y'all, okay? The Afro-Colombians made cumbia in Colombia, became part of Mexican culture, okay? The salsa merengue is the African slaves in the Caribbean. When it comes to the La Bamba, when the slaves went to Veracruz and Veracruz, the song La Bamba tribe in Africa, by La Bamba, that's Afro-Mexican. You have African culture in you. You have African blood in you. But how dare you come to the United States trying to please our white racist kin folks and kiss their ass when they paying you less pay money. They exploit you on the job. They don't want you working those jobs. They use them for cheap labor because many of us don't want to work. We're not lazy. We don't get treated like slaves on a plantation because we know our history, we know our rights. We're not going to let, and it's not just about white and black or brown. We don't even want our own African American people treated that way. How many times we had a couple of black bottles, we're not pure black, and mistreat us and we got in their face, okay? Because they emulate white supremacy, okay? Because they would treat Becky and Brad that way, but they'll treat another sister and brother that way. That's why I don't advocate us come together, because you can't make a horse drink water. Keep the N words where they at, okay? That's right. Keep the niggas where they at. Okay, I'm not gonna change a brother and sister, and I'm gonna change your mate. Okay, I believe moving forward. But to sit here and say that we should be in the protest, no. Unless you prove that you're not racist, yeah, I'll protest for you. But if you've been racist and acting like George Zimmerman, acting like Nuri Martinez, acting like Evan Lazala from Basketball Wives, acting like Erica Mena and others racist Latinos acting like Brian Encina who abused what's her name Sandra Bland. If you act like that over the years, you're getting your cooking. You deserve what the fuck you get. Our white racist cousins are treating you like niggas on a plantation. Because you do have black blood besides Dutch and Spaniard. And I hope you realize that. You might don't look like a black person because all that race mixing down there in Mexico and other part of Latin America, La Raza, but you still have black blood in you and indigenous blood because we are our ancestors' children. That's why I don't believe us calling ourselves pure. I'm still a descendant of white people because I have white ancestors in the America besides African. I'm not a full-blown Arab. I'm not going around pretend to be Kunta Kinte when I have a mixed background and let my ass here. My parents do not have a full-blown African ancestry. And ain't being ashamed, it's the damn truth. And when Africans come in this country, those who talk shit about us, we don't get along. And don't forget, they was involved in the slave trade too. Their ancestors was kings and queens that sold our African ancestors to our white ancestors. And if I hear that shit about, oh, you love the white man, but they did this and that, excuse me, was it for their hand, them African kings and queens and shit, giving our African ancestors after they had their tribal warfare to our white ancestors? That would never happen. They care about greed. They care about money. They ain't give a damn about no color. They ain't care about no brother, sister, and when there's some of them that come in this country talk to us crazy and call us gatas and saying we lazy and talk to us rough. And they be almost black as tar, talking to us any kind of way, act like white supremacists. I say it reminds us of our history because they was their ancestors who was kings and queens and tribal warfare sold our African ancestors to our white ancestors. Do I give a damn about them getting treated by ICE? Hell no. So if you're innocent of this mess don't go out to you. But if you're guilty, you deserve what the hell and the fuck you get. Next time, learn how to treat with respect. And yes, you have indigenous blood. But let me give you a secret. Do you think every indigenous person in back in before Columbus came here was friends? Every tribe did not get along, idiots. You go to if another tribe from this tribe go to another turf, they got treated like the gang members treat each other. So don't come with that about the border situation. Yes, I know border patrol was made by the Ku Klux Klan, but we do need to know who comes in this country. Okay, because we have criminals coming here, and when they commit crimes, they go back to the country. Look what happened to Felicia Johnson. There wasn't a Hispanic person that killed Felicia. It was an African when she got killed here in Houston, a Nigerian. That I'm using N-word. That nigga ran to Nigerian hiding as he chopped her body up. And his bitch ass can be here to be face his crimes and then get deported back to Nigeria. Okay? We're tired of being disrespected. We're not protesting for someone who feel comfortable calling us the N-word. See, let me say this. You want nobody to call you a spick and wetback, right? But if someone tells you don't call them a nigga, don't come with the comment saying, well, we grew up in the hood, and other black Americans, they not call me nigga, and that's how I talk. No, it's called respect. You ain't mature enough to understand that you want to be called a W word, SPIC word, but you want to call somebody a nigga. And you realize that you have white supremacists, one of these in the Hispanic community who participate in Jim Crow and segregation, in slavery. And it wasn't, and also educated too, it wasn't the Hano soldiers who had to be massacred in the Confederacy. They got some people from Puerto Rico and Cuba to fight in the war in the Confederacy too. So don't call me, well, my great grandpa was black, and yeah, that's true. But I can't say the N word, but if I call you the B word, SPIC word, you would get offended. If I call you a boy Trump, you get offended, right? Okay, well, same respect or same you treat people how you want to be treated. Next time while you're in America, in the West Side Story version, okay, when I say in America, have respect. Then respect them, okay? And maybe somebody will protest for you. But when you get arrogant and cocky, you become police officers acting like Klansmen with a tan. When you start acting anti-black, what happened to Philando Castile? It was like, okay, when you start in gang members acting anti-black, like the Ku Klux Klan, but now you're getting your Klan treatment by white supremacists in the ICE. Because men and white supremacists are in ICE, like in the police are in ICE too. When you get your wake-up call, learn how to be respectful. And like I say, ones who's some of the African immigrants who keep laughing at these Latinos, you're going to get your ass there too. Because some of y'all are very anti-black American. And it wasn't for the civil rights bill, y'all asses would not be in this country. Let's be real with you. What if President Johnson, the Klansman, signed that bill? You wouldn't be here. It's the stupidest thing in the world. You can sit here and act like you better than somebody because they told you, well, the black Americans are lazy. And they tell y'all that to do the cheap work. How many people end up dead working on the fields like slaves, picking cotton, strawberries, and doing construction work? They tell all immigrants of color, whether they're Latino, Caribbean, Asian, Eastern African, that we lazy because we don't want to be exploited like slaves. We want to be treated fair like Becky and Brad do, okay? And you stupidly do the work and think you're big and better when you're not. You're not better than nobody. It's no different if I was a pimp and I told a woman who want to be a hoe. Oh, that woman don't want to be a hoe. She's stupid. She nasty. She ugly. Nobody want her pussy. You be my hoe and I treat her like shit. That's the same damn thing that you're getting treated. Okay, when you're on those jobs. Talking about work harder. You working hard to make the white race supremacists wealthy. You don't have your own businesses. See, when you have assets, that makes your money. When you have liabilities, working to have liabilities like rent and gas, you used to remain poor. You spend all your paycheck up. Assets, like the Asian man from Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he's Asian, he's an immigrant, and he noticed, he learned from white folks. Assets make you wealthy. Liabilities make you poor. So when you're working at a job, you continue to stay poor. You're not building wealth. Building wealth is an asset to make money for you. Learn the money game while you're in the United States before you start thinking you're better than somebody. You know what I'm saying? When you have the wealth mindset, then you talking. Get the poor man mindset, you're not talking. Okay? Picking leaves and cotton, strawberries, and being Aunt Jemimas And Ben's, Uncle Ben's did not make it work. It's not American dream. American dream is like living in those mansions, okay? That's American dream. Not living projects, not living in Section 8 housing, working a 9 to 5. I'm not saying that working is not good. But if you know the sin of capitalism in this country, even about the Rockefellers, how they changed the education system where you were not able to work for yourself, you were able to be a puppet to work for other people and remain poor because there was afraid of competition. If you learn that, then you understand what I'm talking about. Because half of you don't know about Rockefellers, how John Rockefeller, the senior, not the one junior who made abortion for Marcus Agner and eugenics. His father was, I guess, afraid that if people learn how to work for themselves, they'll be wealthy just like them. And they fucked the education system up. That's why everybody's chose to be a worker. And people end up homeless and poor and not taught to work for themselves. So until you learn that that's the American dream, baby, is to work for yourself and get that money and be an entrepreneur and get an asset to make money for you, not to have liabilities that keeps you poor. Okay? That's the money game in the United States. That's the American dream. You working for these people who want to exploit you, who pay you less, put you in harsh against OSHA rules. You're exploiting yourself like a woman that chooses to be a hoe for a pimp. It's what it is. I said what I said because you do have women, not all. You have sex trafficking victims, but you do have some women and men too who choose to be hoes to pimps. And then when they get too beaten, mistreated, and abused, they want to cry. They've been abused, and when we wind back their story, they chose to be the victim. It's hard to feel sorry for that. So the ones who are racist, who mad at the fact that no one's not protesting for you, that's how you treat people with disrespect. That's a universal law. That you reap what you sow. Okay? Next time, treat people with respect. And like I say, and it's not just I vote for Trump because of the situation of being disrespected by individuals who happen to be an immigrant of color community. I talk about the African community, the fake brothers and sisters. Them, don't get me started with fake brothers and sisters in our community. I'm not with that bullshit of them coming together. Fuck those niggas in our community. We do not need to unite with them. I did say that. And I'm talking about both the men and the women. Okay? You want to be the plantation in words and make our community worse than what it is and think blindly ignore that. I'm not trying to come together with your ass. Stay where you at, okay? You can whine about I'm gonna sell out. No, you to sell out. Okay. Toxic fake brothers and sisters, we need to delete their ass out of our community, man. Let's delete. I'm not talking about take their life. I'm talking about ignore them, stop associating their ass. Stop trying to come together because we got one black American drop blood. I'm not with that shit. If you're adversary, adversary. You be my own damn mama, okay? But my thing is that I also vote because the Democrat Party did not do a good job when it came to homelessness. Look at California. Look at New York.